So in the early days of Radiolab, I heard a story that for me became almost like a North Star. It's a piece that I call upon constantly when I'm stuck. It's an old NPR piece, and it starts this way. This is the host intro before the reporter starts the piece.
In the world of science, there's supposed to be a reason for everything. A reason why the sky is blue, a reason why dogs chase bicycles. There's even somewhere a reason why socks disappear in the washing machine. However, there is no generally accepted reason why you and I stand on our own 2 feet.
So that's the question that's going to motivate the story. Why do people stand on 2 feet rather than 4? And there are all kinds of theories. I mean, some people think we stood up to grab fruit from the trees. Other people think we stood up so that we could chase game long distances. And that's kind of the main theory. You could do this story any number of ways. The classic way would be to take your microphone, go to the university where the person who has the theory works, stick it in their face, record them spouting the theory, then put it on the air, okay? That would be the basic public radio way to do the story. Listen to how Scott Carrier begins the story. So this what you're about to hear is the first thing that happens after the host stops talking and throws to the reporter.
And there they go.
What?
There they go. You see them crossing over there?
No.
Over to the right. Off quite a ways away, in fact. Way out there.
A couple of years ago, my brother and I went to Wyoming to run down an antelope.
I only see 3 over there.
Well, there were about 8 down there.
Yeah.
It was August, and our plan was to chase one animal until it overheated and collapsed. It just took off running.
Okay.
You want to follow it?
Yeah. Really big flight not doing this.
We had good reasons for what we were doing. One was that it seemed entirely possible. Another had to do with an argument concerning human evolution. It's a scientific argument, so it takes a few minutes to explain.
Like, I remember hearing this, and in the first 30 seconds being like, wait, what? You're gonna chase an antelope till it dies? That's how you're gonna investigate this story? That is just not a normal reporterly situation. But as you'll hear, it's not a stunt.
We choose 2 does and follow them. And they run over another little hill, and on the other side, all of a sudden, there are 20 of them running as a herd. Following this herd is like following a school of fish. They blend and flow and change positions. There are no individuals, but a mass that moves across the desert like a pool of mercury on a glass table.
I mean, first of all, you want to talk about voice. Like, there's just something about the way that Scott writes and the way that he delivers his writing. It just lulls you into a trance, you know? Like, I often think of storytellers as like shaman in a way. Like, we're supposed to lull a group into a collective dream state. And there's just something about the way that he writes and speaks that just does that. In any case, here's what ends up happening. Scott ends up chasing that antelope, or antelope that look like that antelope, for 12 years. Like, he literally chases antelope for 12 years. And as the piece progresses, it starts on this, I think in NPR, it sort of migrates to This American Life and then back, I think. As he's chasing this antelope and as he's continually not catching it, the nature of his chase really starts to shift. I mean, it started, as you remember, as a scientific inquiry, but it becomes something way more personal about, like, how do you find authenticity in the world?
I have no desire to participate in the market economy or the democratic process. I have no goals or ambitions other than to someday go back to the desert with my brother and try again to run down an antelope. I have a plan, and I'm trying to follow it, but it's hard. It's a hard plan to follow. I'm trying to get in shape, and I'm trying to live like a primitive man. Sometimes I feel like I'm not succeeding at either one. I've read a lot about primitive cultures, and I use that term, primitive, in the sense that it means original or primary. For maybe 99% of human history, a few million years, humans were hunters. They didn't get up and go to work each morning. That started with civilization, and civilization is nothing but a heartbeat of recent time, 10,000 years at the most, and to hell with that. I want to wake up naked and alone in the desert. I want to eat sand and drink piss and pass out screaming from sunburn and spider bites.
I think this might be like my favorite radio story of all time. I mean, it's just beautiful radio, I first of all, but I also feel like there's something really important going on here. Because like I, as a reporter, all of us, whatever we do, like we sort of go out ostensibly looking for answers to the questions we have. And I sometimes slip into the fallacy that like that's my job, to find answers. I don't think that's my job. Obviously, it's more about the questions that I ask. But see, anyone can ask a question. Anyone can sort of ask a question in that way that you know you're not gonna answer, you know? Like anyone could do that. What Scott's doing here feels, to me, categorically different. Like he is allowing the question to possess him, to fill all the cells in his body. I mean, the primary sound of the story is his feet hitting the dirt. So the question has become his body. Like he has been haunted by the question in a way. Rilke, in his letters to a young poet, there's this moment somewhere in the middle where he tells the young poet, Franz Capus, he says, don't just ask the question, be the question. Be the question. And he repeats it over and over again. And, you know, when I'm stuck, I often think, am I doing that? Am I sort of doing what Scott's doing? Am I actually getting out of my seat and going out and being physically engaged in asking this? Am I putting all my nerve endings into this question? Am I pursuing this question beyond the point of reason? Because I actually feel like nothing ever gets interesting until it stops being reasonable. So, chasing antelope. That is something I will say to myself very late at night when I'm stuck.